You walk into a gym. There are mirrors on every wall. People are lifting carefully balanced metal plates under fluorescent lights, tracking their sets on phones, drinking pre-workout that tastes like radioactive fruit punch. Some guy is grunting under a bench press. Another guy is filming himself doing deadlifts. And for a moment, it feels impressive. Modern humans have built entire rooms dedicated to becoming stronger. But now, imagine the door opens. And someone walks in who has never seen a barbell before. He is shorter than most men in the room. His face looks strange. His brow is heavy. His chest is wide. His neck is thick. His arms hang slightly differently. His hands look powerful in a way that is hard to explain. He does not look like a bodybuilder. He does not look like an athlete. He looks like something built by a colder, harsher, less forgiving world. And if that person was a Neanderthal, the uncomfortable truth is this: he might be stronger than almost everyone in that gym. Not because he trained harder. Not because he optimized his protein intake. Not because he followed a perfect push-pull leg split, but because his entire body came from a world where weakness was not embarrassing. Weakness was fatal. So how strong were ancient humans compared to us? The answer is complicated. Because ancient humans does not mean one thing. There were early Homo sapiens who were basically us, but living radically different lives. There were Neanderthals, our close relatives, who were built like compact prehistoric powerlifters. There were other human species too, each adapted to different environments, different climates, different dangers. But if you were asking the simple version, were ancient humans stronger than modern humans? The answer is probably yes. At least compared to the average person alive today. And in some cases, it might not even be close. Let's start with the most obvious difference. Bones. Modern humans have surprisingly fragile skeletons compared to many of our ancestors. Not because we evolved to be weak, but because our bodies are incredibly responsive to how we live. Bone is not dead material. It is living tissue. It changes depending on what you do with it. If you walk, climb, carry, run, squat, throw, dig, and drag heavy things every day from childhood, your bones adapt. They become thicker, denser, more resistant to stress. If you spend most of your life sitting in chairs, riding in cars, sleeping on mattresses, walking on flat floors, and lifting heavy things only when you choose to, your skeleton adapts to that too. It becomes lighter, more efficient, less reinforced. Which is a polite way of saying your bones become the bones of an animal that has outsourced most of its survival to technology. This is one of the weirdest things about modern life. You do not need to be physically capable to survive anymore. You need passwords, credit, a working email address, the ability to sit still for 8 hours while pretending that your lower back is not slowly filing a complaint against you. But for most of human history, the body was not optional. It was the tool, the vehicle, the weapon, the suitcase, the ladder, the shovel, the map, the heater, the defense system. If you wanted food, your body had to get you there. If you wanted shelter, your body had to build it. If you wanted to move camp, your body had to carry everything. If something wanted to kill you, your body had to run, climb, fight, or survive the injury. There was no separation between fitness and life. Life was fitness. And this shows up in the bones. When researchers compare prehistoric hunter-gatherer skeletons to later farming populations and modern humans, one pattern keeps appearing. The more settled humans became, the lighter and weaker parts of the skeleton became, especially the legs. That matters because the legs carry the story of mobility: walking, running, climbing, crossing landscapes, following animals, carrying food, moving through uneven ground. Early humans did not need a treadmill. The world was the treadmill. Except the treadmill had rocks, mud, hills, predators, weather, and no stop button. And because they moved constantly from childhood, their bones were shaped by movement in a way ours usually are not. Now, this does not mean every ancient human could walk into a modern gym and win a powerlifting competition. That would be too simple. Strength is specific. A modern elite weightlifter is adapted to a very specific task. They train the nervous system. They practice exact movement patterns. They specialize. They know how to use equipment ancient humans never had. So if you put a random hunter-gatherer under a modern barbell and asked him to squat with perfect technique, he might not immediately look impressive. But that is not because he was weak. It is because the barbell is a strange modern test. Ancient strength was not built for one clean repetition under perfect conditions. It was built for awkward reality, carrying meat over distance, dragging wood, climbing with tools, throwing spears, holding struggling animals, digging roots out of hard ground, hauling children, fighting, running uphill, balancing on rocks, sleeping badly, and doing it again tomorrow. Modern gym strength is controlled. Ancient strength was chaotic. And chaotic strength is terrifying. Because it does not look pretty. It just works. Now let's talk about Neanderthals. Because if early Homo sapiens were strong, Neanderthals were something else entirely. Neanderthals lived across parts of Europe and Western Asia for hundreds of thousands of years. They survived cold environments, dangerous animals, brutal winters, and landscapes filled with creatures that sound like they were designed by someone trying to make humans quit. Woolly mammoths, rhinos, giant deer, bison, horses, bears, big cats, wolves. And Neanderthals did not survive by being delicate. Their bodies were stocky and powerful. They were often shorter than modern humans, but much heavier for their height. That is the first thing people misunderstand. They imagine shorter means weaker. But Neanderthals were not small in the way a modern, sedentary person is small. They were compact, dense, wide. Built like someone compressed a heavyweight athlete into a shorter frame and then reinforced the skeleton. Their bones were thicker than ours. Their joints were large. Their chests were broad. Their arms were powerful. Their shoulders and upper bodies show signs of intense physical use. This was not beach muscle. This was spear muscle, cold weather muscle, close-range hunting muscle. The kind of strength you develop when your food sometimes weighs several hundred kilograms and disagrees violently with being food. And this is where Neanderthal hunting becomes insane. Modern humans are often described as endurance hunters. We can sweat. We can travel long distances. We can wear animals down. We are excellent at persistence. Neanderthals seem to have been built for something more direct, closer, riskier, more explosive. There is evidence that Neanderthals hunted large animals at close range with wooden spears, not always from a safe distance. Not like someone calmly throwing a javelin from across a field. In some cases, they may have gotten dangerously close and thrusted spears into prey. Think about what that means. Imagine approaching a large deer, horse, bison, or even something bigger with a wooden weapon while your survival depends on getting close enough to hit it before it hits you. That is not hunting as a sport. That is a full-body collision with panic attached. Your legs need power. Your hands need grip. Your shoulders need force. Your trunk needs stability. Your bones need to survive impact. And sometimes, they did not. Neanderthal skeletons often show signs of serious trauma. Broken bones, head injuries, arm injuries, rib injuries, damage that healed. That last part matters. Healed. These people got badly hurt and lived long enough for the body to repair itself. Which tells us two things. First, their lives were extremely physical and dangerous. Second, they were not mindless brutes abandoning the weak. Someone with a major injury needed help, food, protection, time. If the injury healed, it often means the group kept that person alive. So Neanderthal strength was not just individual strength, it was social strength. The body took the hit. The group handled the recovery. And if you want one image that captures how different their world was from ours, imagine this. A modern person twists an ankle and orders food delivery. A Neanderthal breaks a bone during a hunt, survives the infection risk, gets fed by the group, heals beside a fire, and eventually goes back into a world where the same thing could happen again. That kind of body is hard to compare to ours because our lives removed most of the test. We do not know how strong we are because almost nothing asks us anymore. Your ancestors were asked every day. Now, one of the strangest things about Neanderthals is that their strength came with a cost. Big bodies are expensive, muscle is expensive, bone is expensive. Staying warm in cold climates is expensive. Moving a heavy body through the world is expensive. Neanderthals likely needed a lot of calories. Not, I'm bulking, calories. Survival calories. Thousands and thousands a day. Imagine needing to eat like a competitive athlete, but there are no grocery stores, no rice cooker, no protein powder, no chicken breast in plastic, no late-night fast food, just landscape, animals, plants, fire, tools, skill, luck, and other hungry people. This is another part modern people forget. Strength is not free. A powerful body is useful only if you can feed it. In a world where food is uncertain, being huge is risky. Neanderthals were strong because their environment rewarded strength. But that same strength may have made life harder when food became scarce. A smaller, leaner human who could travel farther, cooperate across wider networks, use more flexible tools, and survive on a broader range of food might have had an advantage. This is important because strength is not the same thing as superiority. Neanderthals were incredibly powerful, But evolution does not care who would win a deadlift competition. Evolution cares who survives long enough to leave descendants. Sometimes that is the strongest body. Sometimes it is the most efficient body. Sometimes it is the body that needs less food. Sometimes it is the group that shares information better. Sometimes it is the species that can adapt faster when the world changes. So ancient humans were not simply better than us. They were adapted to a different world. And we are adapted, culturally at least, to this one. But biologically, we are still carrying a body that expects more from life than chairs. This is why modern fitness feels so strange. We invented exercise to replace the movement that life used to require. We invented gyms because the environment stopped demanding strength from us. We invented cardio because walking stopped being transportation. We invented mobility routines because sitting slowly steals positions the body used to use every day. We invented grip trainers because our hands mostly touch glass now. We invented obstacle races because the normal world became too flat. We invented functional fitness because modern life became physically non-functional. Ancient humans did not train for life. Life trained them. A child growing up in a hunter-gatherer group would not need someone to explain progressive overload. They would climb, carry, run, dig, throw, crawl, squat, wrestle, balance, and walk because that was childhood. Their feet would touch uneven ground. Their ankles would adapt. Their hips would open and close through full ranges of motion. Their shoulders would pull, reach, and throw. Their hands would grip real textures: wood, stone, bone, hide, earth, not smooth keyboards and steering wheels. By adulthood, they would have a body shaped by thousands of hours of natural movement. Not perfect, not invincible, but deeply capable. And that might be the biggest difference between ancient strength and modern strength. Modern strength is often something you add to your life. Ancient strength was the result of life itself. You did not need discipline to move. You moved because food was over there. Water was over there. Firewood was over there. Danger was behind you. The group was ahead of you. There was no motivational quote, no fitness influencer, no alarm reminding you to get your steps in. The world simply did not care whether you felt like it. And weirdly, that may have made them more naturally balanced than us. A modern person might have huge arms and weak ankles, a big chest and tight hips, strong quads and no endurance, good cardio but no grip, visible abs but terrible posture. Because modern training can specialize. Ancient life did not specialize that neatly. It demanded the whole body. Not for aesthetics. For competence. Could you climb? Could you carry? Could you throw? Could you run? Could you walk all day? Could you get up from the ground easily? Could you keep going while tired, cold, hungry, and scared? That was the test. Not how much you could lift once, but whether your body could keep being useful in a world that did not forgive uselessness. So if we ask, how strong were ancient humans compared to us? The most honest answer is this. The average ancient human was probably far more physically capable than the average modern human. Stronger bones. Better natural mobility. Greater endurance through daily movement. Better grip. Better tolerance for discomfort. More practical strength. A body shaped by necessity instead of convenience. But compared to elite modern athletes, it depends. A trained Olympic lifter may lift more. A marathon runner may run farther faster. A gymnast may control their body with more precision. A powerlifter may be stronger in specific lifts. Modern specialization can create monsters. But ancient humans were not specialists. They were generalists. They had to be. They were not trying to maximize one number. They were trying to stay alive. And that kind of strength is harder to measure. There is no machine for it. No clean chart. No single lift. No treadmill test. How do you measure the strength to carry meat back to camp after a dangerous hunt? How do you measure the grip strength of someone who made tools every day from stone and hide? How do you measure the endurance of a person who walked across landscapes before roads existed? How do you measure the durability of someone whose bones broke, healed, and kept going? How do you measure the body of a human being who never had the option of being sedentary? You probably cannot, but you can feel the difference. Because modern life has made physical weakness normal. Not morally bad, not shameful, just normal. A normal person today can spend an entire day barely using their body. Wake up in a bed, sit at breakfast, sit in the car, sit at work, sit at lunch, sit again, drive home, sit on a couch, look at a screen, sleep, repeat. A body can survive that, but it was not built for that. And somewhere under the softness of modern life, there is still an older body waiting. A body that expects sunlight, uneven ground, heavy things, long walks, cold air, real hunger, real rest, real danger, real effort. That is why lifting weights can feel so good. Why walking clears the mind. Why carrying something heavy feels strangely satisfying. Why sitting around all day makes you feel tired even though you did nothing. Your body remembers a world you never lived in. It remembers that strength was not supposed to be a hobby. It was supposed to be part of being human. Ancient humans were not superheroes. They got tired. They got injured. They got scared. They got sick. They died young by modern standards. Their lives were not romantic. They were hard, uncertain, and often brutal. But their bodies were awake in a way many modern bodies are not. Every muscle had a job. Every bone had a reason to be dense. Every hand knew texture. Every foot knew the ground. Every day asked something physical from them. And every day, they answered. So the next time you walk into a gym, remember this: the weights are not unnatural. The running is not unnatural. The climbing, carrying, squatting, pulling, throwing, sweating, breathing hard, none of that is unnatural. The unnatural part is needing to schedule it. The unnatural part is having to remind yourself to move. The unnatural part is living in a world so comfortable that your ancient body has to beg you for the basic conditions it once got automatically. Because compared to ancient humans, we are not weak because we are worse. We are weak because we are sheltered. And maybe strength is not just about building something new. Maybe it is about recovering something old, something your body has been waiting for this whole time.